Hello, everybody. This is Sunshine, and we are here for the private room with Tiffany. Tonight, we're going to be talking about courting and dating. So, I know in our generation, I'm gonna I had to put my age out there so that y'all can understand where I might be coming from. I'm 47, so I know what courting is. And so we're going to talk about courting and dating and what that looks like in today's world, and we're gonna have some real deep conversations because I feel like the generation of children now, like my 16-year-old, they have no idea what courting is. And so that's what we're gonna be talking about: courting versus dating. And is there a difference? We'll see. We're gonna talk about it. All right. So before we do, we're gonna listen to J Lock, my artist. I manage J Lock, who is here on with us right now, and we're gonna start off our podcast with his song "No Rush."
Hey guys, this is J Lock. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to take your phone call. As a matter of fact, I won't be able to be reached for the whole week. I'm on my honeymoon and I'm doing the thing.
Even if you fall away, I'm just a call away. Nice in Miami, body sweet like candy. I just wanna take my time on you, no rush, no rush, no rush. I really wanna cross that line.
I can't hear it.
No rush, no rush.
Hey.
So you can't hear it?
I can't hear it.
Things that made me
Can
intense.
everybody else
hear?
Things or maybe just vent.
I can hear it. It's low, but I can hear it. It's like a little reggae type
Leaders no
of
lead.
vibe.
That's
I'm
first they follow and pick up the speed.
Damn, I feel left
First
out.
they borrow, then proceed to be. Praise to the most high, the one G-O-D. He's always with me since I've been on. They've been all gone. I've been alright. They was all wrong. Been way too long. Stay in my pond. Push it along. Okay. Grace flow like water while you docile. Getting my affairs in order while you doubt now. Sleeping too much against me ain't never good. Living my dream, crash the board like I'm Westbrook.
Yes, I like that. What do y'all think? Did y'all like that?
Nice.
I saw some heads bobbing.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So I'm gonna start with
I
you.
like
We
it.
have I did too. I like the vibe. It was real sexy. I really liked it. That was nice. That was nice. So I'm Sunshine Brown. We are here for the private room and we're talking about courting versus dating. We have one of my artists that I manage, J Lock, with us tonight. So hey J Lock, how are you doing?
What up, though? What's going on?
Hey. Hey, handsome. Tell
How
us
y'all
about the
doing?
song we just heard, No Rush. Tell us about that.
No Rush was made kind of just a record dedicated to it was just a vibe. You know what I mean? I'm a grown man, so vibes are important. You know, and that was just kind of one of those grooves that just kind of if you want to chill with your lady, you can chill out. Just celebrate being amongst someone that you care for, someone that you love. You know, music is a byproduct nowadays. It's more about the experience than it is, anything else. So we try to create a vibe for people just to be able to, be you in the car riding together, or you trying to, put together a date night.
I like it. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. Very sexy. Very smooth. Had a little reggae in the background. How long have
Yeah.
you been an artist? How long have you been recording music?
I've been doing music, man, early, like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like my core fans, grandkids are listening to me now, which is pretty cool to experience. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Nice. Nice. Well, everybody, this is J Lock. Make sure that y'all go and follow him on social media. Tell everybody your Instagram before we get this thing going.
I am J Lock. IAMJLOCKE on Instagram, also TikTok. Definitely check us out. And
All
we
right.
also
Go ahead.
supporting mental health this year as well. So we're campaigning for mental health in our community, preferably Black men, African American men. So we're doing a lot of conversations about that as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's important. May is coming up, so Mental Health Awareness Month. Y'all watch out for those. Mental health is something that has really been in the forefront And I think I hate that COVID had to bring out the importance of mental health, but it really did. You know, us being in isolation, people that never experienced depression before started feeling depression. Our kids were affected by not being able to have the socialization and so forth. So now mental health is something that's taken more seriously than it was before. So I applaud you for putting that out there in the universe and talking about mental health, especially as an artist that reaches a lot of people. Yeah, very nice. The song No Rush, tell us, like, I know that was talking about, you know, relationships and so forth. How do you feel like about courting and dating? Do you feel like there's a difference?
Definitely a difference. I think both have their purpose. I think that a lot of people nowadays don't have that in front of them to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you're listening to current music, if you're watching, you know, trends and all of that, nobody's, you know, taking their time with anything. It's just, you know, the rappers celebrate the one night stand and I got to be out. It's all about the conquest, not the journey. So, you know, I think that's a huge difference. And this generation don't stand a chance because we was starting to fade it out. Like we was the ones, you know, as soon as hip hop hit, we was all about the, you know, it was get money, get chicks, you know, and then when the chicks started to buy into it, then it became a whole vibe, right? But definitely romance is something that needs to be done if you're long term in it. If you're looking for a wife, at some point a man changes his focus and he stopped looking for that conquering and he decides to actually want to jump in on something real. But then a lot of men don't have the tools. A lot of us didn't grow up with fathers to see those examples. So, you know, you basing it off of what you and your boys putting together. It's going to be short, right? So, you know, a lot of times that's not even understood what the difference is or how to even begin to process that and make that happen.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff right there. Okay, all right. So we're gonna come back to you. Also want to introduce Sev the Fairy. Hello, girl. How you doing?
Hey, y'all. I am Sev. I'm a choreographer, a poet, podcast host, overall visionary. I wear many crowns, but those are just some of them. And I'm excited to be here. You guys always have some of the best conversations, so I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm glad to have you back. I know you have had a cast.
Somebody went out.
Then we lost
Can y'all
her.
hear me?
Yes.
Now we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Like you froze.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine Brown.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Okay. So we always have different guests, and one of the young ladies here with us tonight, Sev the Fairy, she has a lot going on. If y'all go to her Instagram page, like you're just gonna be mesmerized. She's dancing and just the choreography is beautiful and sexy, and you can tell like she is just very confident about her body and about who she is as a woman, and it's very inspiring because, you know, I love to dance, but I don't think I would ever put it on Instagram for people to see. I don't think I would ever like sell tickets to come see me dance. I'm shy. Like, I can sing, but I'm not going to go into the studio because I'm too shy. So when I see women like you that are like doing the damn thing and just, you know, showing body positivity and women's empowerment and all that good stuff, it's really nice to see. So that's why I wanted to have you back on.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. And then we have Mr. Khalil. So Mr. Khalil is here. He is one of our special co-hosts. So if y'all don't know, we are looking for a male co-host. Ropi is focused on her music. So unfortunately, she's not going to be joining us on every Monday. Hopefully she'll check in with us every now and then. But Ro had to take a step back because she's focusing on her music and her health, and we're missing her. So some masculinity here. We need some men on the panel to kind of have a different perspective. What do you think, Tiffany?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Especially, I think a lot of it has to do with the perspective aspect of it, because us being women, the saying goes, we're emotional beings, we're men are more logical, and I think that it kind of plays a little bit more of a better balance to have a man than just a panel of all women.
Right. I agree. I'm all about women's empowerment and women having voices, but I value and respect the perspective of a man that we might not see. You know what I mean? So we have Khalil. Khalil, introduce yourself, please.
Yes. Hello. My name is Khalil Ali. Originally from New York. I've been in Atlanta 14 years. I believe there's a difference in the two. But we have to add a layer to the dating. There's something you should do before dating, and you should vet before you even date to see if the person is someone you actually want to date. So there should be that process going first. Then you have your dating process. The dating process needs to happen before you could even consider courting. Courting is the process where we're going to go further in depth into the relationship, long-term commitment. On that, other than that, I've been in trucking 30 years. I'm pretty good on the computer. I started working on my own podcast because I have different perspectives on life and relationships. A lot of everything seems to be really traditional. I'm more non-traditional, but I believe in the man being able to stand on his own 2 feet and be supportive and to be able to take care of his family. But the man has to take care of himself first in order to be able to take care of his family. You can't be financially challenged, and your health needs to be in order for you to be able to take care of your family. Because as a man, if you're not good, then your family's not good. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's true. That's real true. So I'm going to ask the question. Sev, how old are you? Oh, can't hear you.
I am 29.
Okay. So you're 29. So you're the youngest probably on here today. And so when you hear courting and you hear dating, what do those mean to you? At 29, what do those terms mean to you?
So I think now I understand, how courting used to be, but I think now we live in a generation where titles is such a really big thing now, and that can be a good thing, but that can also be a bad thing. You have some men that has a certain level of bouginess, I would like to say, when they date. So they court all the women that they talk to. They give them that feeling of courting. What you experience, what many other women have experienced, they've been courted, they've been led on, things like that. And then you have the men that actually do it the right way. So I think that there's two sides of it, but you have to just be mindful of it, because you come across serial daters, people who like to court for the adrenaline rush. And then once they get what it is they want, it could be sex, it could be the feeling of just having someone new. It can be anything, whatever their thing is. Once they get that, they're kind of over it. So I think in some cases, courting and dating can be similar now. There's many things that have similarities with it. It just depends on the individual, honestly.
Yeah. So Tiffany, how old are you? 40.
43.
43. Okay, and I'm 47. So we have like very varying opinions or varying experiences from myself to Seven to Tiffany. So when I think of courting, I think of dating with the intention of marriage. Period. So like when you have people that are dating, you can date multiple people. I think like what Seven was saying, you have serial daters who date multiple people. And then you have those who are intentional. Like when I was dating, I basically let the men know that I was dating, like I'm looking for my husband. And that immediately basically told me who was in and who was out. When you tell someone, I'm looking for someone that I'm gonna, build a life with or whatever, and they're gone, okay, so that lets you know very quickly where your mind is. But that's the type of person I am. I'm very straightforward when I date, and I say what I'm looking for. And then some men and women are open and do still date with the purpose of marriage. So it's really, don't you think maybe we need to define what courting is?
Mm-hmm.
Sure,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, like the traditional form of courting was dating with the intention of marriage. You dated that person because your mom or your dad or somebody thought that this person might be a great fit for you. And then as the centuries went on, that intention was still there, dating with the intention of marriage. But then somewhere it stopped. I don't know. What do you feel, Khalil? What do you feel?
All right. I'll tell my age. I'm 51. First, we'll go with from the definition standpoint.
Mhm.
Dating is more of a romantic thing, romantic relationship between two people, aiming to have some sort of stability, right? But then when you get to courting is where you're looking more for your person. You're looking for that person you're going to marry down the line. But I don't see a problem if you're not looking to be married. That's why I say vetting is important, because you don't have to waste your time with dating. Because if you vet the person and y'all are talking, and when I say vet, meaning talking on the phone, y'all are doing your actual research of each other before you actually go on a date. That's one of my things. I need to talk to you a few times before I actually go on a date with you to see if we're aligned. But there's times when, I was not looking for my person. So if I'm just looking to hang out and date, then that's not a problem, as long as we can be honest and say, yeah, I'm not looking to be married. So, I mean, and I always say, whether young and old, I believe men and women need to have some experiences in life first before they really know they want to be married. I think you have to have a couple of failed relationships first. You know what I mean? I have a few friends that I went to college with, and they're all divorced now. They got married in their early 20s, 23, 24, 25, 26, and they're all divorced. And maybe I have one friend that might still be married, but he's only still married out of convenience because he's worried about being broke, and his wife is the breadwinner. So he stays married because of that. You know what I mean? You just have to define what you're trying to do when you meet people. Everybody's not looking to be married, and that's okay. Because I also believe a lot of people have that notion that when you meet someone and you've been in a relationship, let's just say a year or so, y'all should be looking toward marriage or some sort of long-term companionship. But everybody's not looking for that, and that's fine. We just need to be upfront with that.
And I want to just interject, because I feel like a lot of what's going on in today's melee of things is it's an expectation of society. It's a societal expectation that people who date are dating to get married. However, that might not be the circumstance for the two people who are dating. Exclusivity might not be the end goal. Commitment might not be the end goal. They might just be happy being single and dating because it's a way for them to socialize with other people. So, because I didn't give my opinion on the courting versus dating thing, but I honestly think that courting is old school and it's become a blurred line with dating, and it's no longer mandatory, I guess, because no man is knocking on a woman's door and asking her dad, can I take your daughter on a date?
That's a cultural
that's
thing.
Part of courting too. And
some cultures
no
they
longer.
Yeah, it is a culture thing. I know when I started dating, the guy that that wanted to date me. He came to my house and asked my dad to take me out. Like my younger days, I've had that happen. But now, like even with my children, I'm like, if you have someone that you like, my son, I say, or my daughter, if there was somebody that liked her, I'm like, well, I haven't talked to them yet because I'm still old school. Like, if you want to date my daughter, then you need to come and talk to her parents. I'm still old school, but you're right, Tiffany. Like today, there's just like the intention that Khalil was saying, that intention, like, what do you want? And let's have a conversation about it. But then you have all these different relationship styles, like Khalil was saying. There's some people that don't want to get married, but they're looking for their life partner. So,
I'm a perfect example of that because that's where I'm at in my life. And not only that, but we have so many different relationship dynamics that are no longer considered taboo because people are practicing polyamory and open relationships and polygamy and all of these things. So yeah, you can't, by law, you can't marry multiple people. However, you can date multiple people and still have loving relationships all the way around if it's done correctly.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Someone just commented that you got to marry the right person, the person that's for you. If your goals aligned and if you enjoy each other's company and time you spend together, marriage is supposed to be a partnership. Yeah, I agree. And that's a big commitment. Seven, at your age of 29, and I'm assuming you have friends that are in your age bracket, I'm assuming. Do y'all talk about wanting to get married? Or women in their 20s talking about getting married? I know in my 20s they did, but are they talking about that in your circle?
So yeah, I mean, there's conversations about it. I come across women. I have some friends that want to get married. I have some that don't want to be married. I'll use myself as an example. Marriage is not something that I'm seeking or I'm looking for. It's something, yeah, do I want it? Sure, but I want it done on the right premises. So I'm currently in a relationship right now. And I would say it's probably the best relationship I've ever had all around. And to kind of piggyback on what you guys were saying, my boyfriend actually did get approval from my dad before we even solidified being in a relationship. So it still happened with our generation, people still do that. It's just, certain things are not talked about if it's not a trend. And that's kind of where my generation kind of falls short, is that even with marriage, like a lot of people get married because it's a trend because it sounds good to, people don't get married. People get married because they in love. And for me, that's not good enough. I'm not going to marry you just because I'm in love with you.
Right.
It's not good enough for me to go and get it on paper. We can be in love and be together now. We don't have to get that on paper. For it to be on paper, it got to make sense. It got to make sense up here. It got to make sense financially. It got to make sense for the family structure. Like, it has to make sense. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we still, there's some women that do want to get married and some that don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what is dope in relationships is when you're able to build with someone. You know what I mean? Like, everybody nowadays want the Burger King and McDonald's way of doing things. They want it instantly. They want you to come healed. They want you to come financially stable. Now, men, we supposed to have that, but again, we don't always have it figured out. Most of the cats that I know actually came and will agree that they didn't get their stuff together until they got with the right woman. And what women do to a relationship, your finances, they'll help you figure out your life. They'll mend relationships with your family. Like, that's what a woman does. She nurtures it. So a lot of times we don't know how to deal with that because we're not very vocal on just those type of responses, right? So I think to build something together, if y'all both start at a certain point, you end up successful businesses, whatever you think success is, that's dope, and that also builds the relationship. And I think those are the kind of that's where I come from. That's what I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of my partners that are successful have a similar story. So
So, and Jay, how old are you?
48.
Yeah. Okay. So I know Khalil said that his boys that got married in their 20s are divorced now. Do you have friends that are married? Do you have
Sure.
married friends? And okay.
But the crazy thing is, I have probably more men around me that I know personally that are successfully married. Like out of like just off of the head, most of the guys that I know are happily married, successful, has went up with their women. But yeah, I know guys who, I mean, nobody gonna get it right the first time.
Right.
Especially if you don't have that foundation to grow from. Like, how many men actually grew up with their mother and father together? You know what I mean? And that way of living, like, that's rare in itself. So yeah,
I think it depends on where you come from too, because
sure.
because like for me, I would say the majority of my friends have both parents in the home. So I think it really depends on your background, your environment, where you come from, and all that, and that's how you learn your values when it comes to family and marriage, is seeing what you saw growing up, what your experiences were. What did you grow up in? You might have people that grew up in a family, their parents were happily married for 50 years. So they saw their parents together. And so that's their version of what marriage is, where you might have someone that grew up, they didn't have two parents in the home. There's always arguing, there's always shit going on. Everybody around them, other friends, was going to their mom and daddy house on the weekend. So it really depends on like where you come from. And that really determines how you date or how you cook.
Sure.
Well, everybody's level of growth is going to always be different. No one grows at the same time. And that's even, I was talking to a young lady that told me she divorced her husband basically because they just grew apart. And that kind of, if you're listening to something like that, and she's an older lady talking about she divorced him because they grew apart, but she said he was a good man. So it confused me. That type of statement confused me. He's a good man. You grew apart, so you divorced him. I mean, she didn't go into no elaborate details, but I'm lost at he's a good man.
Can I chime in on that?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
So a lot of people have this expectation that if you're a good man or you're a good woman, that's good enough. People really believe that. Like me, I know I'm a good woman, but I may not be compatible with you. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm a good woman, that don't mean that we supposed to be together or this is supposed to last just because I'm good, So I think a lot of the times people kind of get that confused. And, I hear people a lot of the times when they get out of a relationship, they be like, well, I'm a good woman or I'm a good man. And, it's their loss or they missing out. And it's like, they might not be missing out. You might not just be what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's really that simple. Like you have to, well, let me not say you have to, because don't nobody got to do nothing. But ideally, you want to be with the person that you are willing to grow through things with. You have to be compatible in that light too. And a lot of the times, once again, people get together and, you have some honeymoon phases that only last 6 months. You got some that last a year. You got some that last a lifetime if you do it right. But people get so caught up in that honeymoon phase, no matter how long it is, that when it's gone, they don't know how to maneuver. They don't know how to get through it. They don't remember the small details about their partner to get through it. Because they wasn't paying attention.
I think with that, this is what she said is all true, right? I think at this stage of life, though, just like there's so many outside influences, and people got to be mindful of the outside influences that they let creep into their relationship. Like there's so many fake self-help people on social media, and your girlfriend thinks she know it all, and a lot of times you'll let people get in your ear and kind of warp what you think is a good man, and you lose something good because you listen to some cat who got a bunch of followers on TikTok. You know what I mean? Or you listen to that bitter girlfriend and men do it too. You know, guys will sit there and be looking at their boys going out and doing stuff. And one day you take that trip and you see what it's about, and then you risk everything. So, I mean.
Yeah, there's a song out right now talking about, you know, it's a rap song, and he's basically saying to the woman, you know, I can take you to Paris. I can, you know, I'm hustling to buy a house and so on, but you're listening to your girlfriends over there who don't even have a man, so forth and so on. So every time I hear that song, I rock with it because it's true. You know, you just like Seven said, you can have a good man, you can have a good woman, but are they your good woman? Are they your good man? And if you find that out, are you willing to invest to the?
Well, I'm gonna say this though. If I get people growing apart, I get that. I get, because you can fall in and out of love every day. You know what I mean? You can. It happens. But my thing is, you in a marriage for 15, 20 years, and then you'll grow apart, or you're not in love anymore, and you just decide to just scrap the relationship or the marriage after 15, 20 years and not work and not, I don't know if they working on it or not working on it. But my thing is, you get married with an intention of, what is it, for better, for worse. You know, I just feel like people just don't want to work at it no more. And like I said in the beginning, that's why you have a vetting process. Your vetting process is so that you can be aligned. You know what I mean?
No, I'm gonna speak up real quick, just to go back on what Jay was saying about like the whole wanting the McDonald's and Burger King relationship where it's instant. People don't come into relationships anymore with any level of dedication towards their partner because they want it how they want it, and when they don't get what they want, now they want to have a little temper tantrum and walk away. That's not a healthy. I wouldn't want a partner like that. Right. I would want a partner to be like, hey, what's going on with you, to where you have to act like that. Because for me, I feel like I'm lucky to have the partner that I have, because if I'm fucking up, he'll tell me too, you fucking up. This ain't very becoming of you. So he has my best interest at heart, and vice versa. And that's what I think a lot of people tend to miss out on in a relationship, because they're looking at it from an ego perspective and not so much from a space of what do I need rather than what do I want.
Yeah,
because
I think
sometimes we can't face what we need, because that means we have to hold ourselves accountable for some shit. And if we don't want to hold ourselves accountable, guess what? The finger's always pointing outwards, never inwards. So and that goes to say that people do change within a relationship too. So if you're not up to par with change, if you don't like change, then don't get in a relationship, because your partner very well could be toxic when you get with them and then find themselves going through a whole healing process. So no, not everybody is going to come to the table completely healed, because we're always going through something in life. So if you can't go along with the evolution of someone, then don't be in a relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's what Khalil was trying to say. Like, you've been with this person for 15 years and y'all grow apart. Like, don't you? For me, if I'm with you for 15 years and we've grown apart, I'm going to try to spark that up. Like, let's go out on date nights. Let's do something different. If we're looking at each other, bored with each other, let's try something new together.
But how many times have we heard our elders that have like lived in different bedrooms? Sometimes space is needed because you're with this person 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can tell when they're about to use the bathroom. just the energy between the two people. You can tell when your person is hurt. You can tell when they're having a bad day and they don't even have to open their mouth to you. You just know. So sometimes that energy can get a little overwhelming. So I've heard of like elders, one has their own room, the other one has the other room, but they still stay together. Yeah. Divorce is never an option.
Right.
I would say this, to go back to And I'm sorry, what was your name again with the Army fatigue hat on? I forgot.
Khalil.
Khalil, thank you. When he was talking about that's why the vetting process is important. I guess it just depends on. I agree with that. But I also think it just depends on what people are vetting for, because we live in a different time now with my generation, where, like I said, everything is a trend, and people don't think for themselves anymore. People rely on other people's thoughts. Like, there may be somebody watching us right now and taking what we saying, and now they're gonna just live by it. And we could be saying something that's factual, for us and what we're sharing, but it's not factual for where they are in their journey with relationships or with their partners. So they might want to go break up with their partner as soon as they get done watching this, or they might want to go fix things. So a lot of the times people don't really think for themselves when it comes to relationships or with themselves. And I think when you are, like Tiffany said, nobody comes into a relationship 100% healed. However, in order for the vetting process to be efficient, you got to already have done the work for yourself. That way, when you get to that vetting process, you already have a deeper understanding about what it is that you want for yourself first, and then what you want in a partnership, and what this person is actually going to come with as well to meet you in the middle. And people get married, once again, because it sounds good. And you do have those relationships that last 15, 20 years, and they say, oh, we grew apart. And they did grow apart. They grew apart a long time ago. Both of them mentally was gone a while ago. But because of the title marriage, people feel like I got to stick this shit through. And I see a lot of elders who stick the shit through and they look drained spiritually. They look dead. And it's like, I get it. You got married, you know what I'm saying? So you wanted it to last for the long haul.
The intention when you get married is to stay married.
Say what? I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying the intention of marriage is to stay married. So to your point,
and that is the intention, but people do it for the wrong reasons. So spiritually, like I said, people get married because they in love. People get married because it look good on paper. But for the spiritual aspect, the God-given aspect of it, people don't get married for that reason. And so they end up being in a marriage because, oh, damn, I done got this license now. I done got this certificate. I need to keep my license or certificate. You know what I'm saying? I need to go through this. I need to stick this out because this is what it's supposed to be. They say it's something that's not healthy for them.
What's your interpretation of the God factor in marriage?
The God factor in marriage?
Yeah.
Expand on that a little more, because that's broad.
Like you said, the spiritual side of marriage, and you saying people don't marry for that reason. What's your interpretation of that? So
for me personally, in the relationship that I have with God, and for where my spirit is and my journey and my purpose, my partner and the partner that I currently have and my lifelong partner, for me spiritually, I need someone who aligns with my purpose. What my purpose is for myself. So this is the best way I can put it. I believe that we all have 3 different purposes in life. I know a lot of people believe they only have one, but I believe you have 3. You have the one that you give to yourself. You have the purpose that other people put on you, and you have your God-given purpose. Now, if the purpose that you have for yourself aligns with God's purpose, is going to automatically align with the purpose that people put on you. Meaning that, I'll give an example and then I'll go more in detail. Meaning that, for example, right now, I'm a choreographer, I'm a dancer. I'm not saying that's what my purpose is in life, but just to give y'all an example, I say, for instance, if I said my purpose in life was to be this great choreographer, this great dancer, I want to go on tour with all these celebrities and dance. Cool. Other people put the purpose on me like, oh, she's a great dancer. I can learn from her. I want her to teach me dance. That's what I want from her. That's what she gives to me. That's what she gives to other people. God's purpose might be like, well, I actually don't want you to dance at all. I want you to own a dance studio. I don't even want you to dance. I want you to sit down and just own a dance studio. You see? So with my partner has to align spiritually with what my purpose is on all levels, my God-given purpose, everything. Because God not going to send me nothing that doesn't align with my purpose. And you'll know. So it's kind of hard for me to really specify that because it's based on you and your journey and your partner's journey. But if you don't know your purpose and you don't have that understanding with self, you're going to marry somebody that doesn't align with that purpose, the greater purpose, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well,
If I can answer that question, Jay, when I think of God and what that has to do with marriage, is that God created us to have a family, to build, and that back in the day when our parents were dating, or maybe their parents were dating, that if you are interested in someone, you're interested in them with the intention of marriage. You don't just date. It's not the serial dating back then when our parents and our grandparents. That wasn't something that was stressed. It was, you're supposed to, grow up. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to have a family, so forth and so on. And so the intent of dating was that. But then when you take it a step further, you have the Bible that is saying that, when you get married, you become one. But you also have to have God in your relationship in order for your relationship to work. So to answer that question, for me, when you have your purpose, your person, you're fulfilling your purpose, and God is blessing you for those, which I feel that's what marriage does. That is a statement in front of God and in front of your family and friends that this is the person that you chose to spend your life with, no matter, if it's 15, 20, 50, until you die. In that moment, you are saying to God and to everybody else that this is my person. And when you do that, then God is supposed to be, you keep God into your relationship. Your relationship, and that can be spiritual too. Some people don't believe in God. Some people are just spiritual beings. And so they believe in a higher power is going to help them with blessing whatever their union.
Within the universe, I just wanted to reiterate you. I think you have to have a couple of failed relationships first before you actually know where you want to go. Because you don't know what you like. You don't know what you're really looking for. You know what I mean? So to have a few failed relationships, because you can also learn yourself through those failed relationships. You know what I mean? You have those and it didn't work. You take the positive from those relationships, you move on, and you better yourself. And then you can actually say, well, I don't like this type of man, or I don't like this type of woman, or I remember this type of man, he rubbed me the wrong way, or whatever it is. But a lot of times you don't know what you like until you have been down that road. And I'm gonna give you a good example for myself. When I was younger, I used to like hood chicks. But hood chicks didn't like me.
Hood chicks. Yeah.
Hood chicks didn't like me. But there was something about hood chicks that I used to just want to holler at hood chicks. I had to learn. I'm not for hood chicks. Hood chicks don't like me. I don't fit the persona of what hood chicks look like. So I'm just using my own example. I had to learn. I have to stay away from hood chicks because they're gonna all turn me down. And they do. They all turn me down because I don't fit whatever they're looking for. But I had to learn that first. I had to learn that's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes it's meant.
You have to date, and then once you date and you know what it is that you like, that's when you start courting. Is that what you're?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you have to have some failed relationships because I didn't know. Yeah. There's so many beautiful women in the world. You have a lot of beautiful women in the world. So as men, a lot of us, we want every beautiful woman that we see a lot of times. She might not be no good for us, but we have to go through an experience first to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And like I said, I believe the courting part comes in once I'm serious about a female. When I'm serious about you, that's when the courting takes place. Because when I'm serious about you, that's when I'm looking for long-term life partner. It might not necessarily be marriage, but long-term life partner. Because I know everybody's not looking for marriage, but everybody might want to. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking, I've listened to everybody's interpretation from the spiritual aspect, right? And then I'm listening to, I'm thinking back to like my grandfather time and their fathers and mothers, and I'm trying to see what the difference is. Because when people refer back to those times, when it comes to relationships, they talk about, these ain't like back in the days. This is new. This is we're not like our parents and our grandparents. But and we're right, we're not. But their success rate in marriage and ownership, we ain't nowhere near with more access to money. Like what we're able to achieve financially. We don't have those borders and shortfalls like they did. You talking about coming out of slavery and I'm down south, so like it was a different time in the South, right? But even in the South, like when I look at my grandfather and my grandmother and their community, they had the big cars, they had the houses. They wasn't perfect. They was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I could tell you stories about my grandfather. They used to call him Hot Shot, if that helped. But but like their success rate in all of the stuff, they still survived, they still lasted, and they still own things, and they was able to pass things down to their kids, even if their kids didn't know what to do with it, but they still was able to give to the next generation. I think and nowadays we are a selfish bunch of people, man. I think like if I'm not happy or if I'm not feeling it, I'm out. And that you can't sustain anything. You can't own anything or have anything. When I say own anything, I'm not talking about money or cars, because we can have that, right? We can do that by ourselves. But I'm talking about a stability. What you pouring into your kids, what you pouring into other things that actually mean more than your worldly possessions and your own selfish ideas of what happiness is. And when I look back to the Bible and when I think about the whole I don't say religious aspect, because religion is not something I subscribe to, but a relationship with the Creator is what really will give you substance, right? Most people call it what being spiritual or the universe, whatever you want to call him. He exists, right? And I just think if you listen through those eyes and move in through that filter, those things last. Like I know people who live that way that last and are successful and happy. And that's probably the reason why I see more success rates than, because there's a lot of sacrifice. And you talking to a brother that is, a failed relationship, just left a failed relationship. Part of it was my fault. I could take it. But at the same time, I understand that it was my fault, and it doesn't make me upset or it makes me take ownership of my piece. You know what I mean? She got to deal with her piece and she dealt with it. But for me, I can own it. And then that's being grown. That's grown man. But I also think that I don't know. I just look at it. I've lived long enough to kind of see a couple of generations come through, and I see the difference, and I see what worked and I see what didn't. And you hold on to what that foundation is and all that other stuff, all those TikTok influencers and all that. Like, if that's what you subscribe to, that's you. But you're gonna see the fruits of that labor.
Well, the thing, you can still stay traditional, and this is because we all, except for this young lady, a lot of the tradition is gone because people are listening to social media, right? Mm-hmm. They're following social media. So if they're not taught tradition, and then you're going with, you got to move with the time sometimes. Like, we can stay traditional because we know tradition. We know what we saw traditionally. So we can adapt with the current times, but you can still have your traditional values.
Right.
The generation now doesn't have tradition. They don't have tradition because their parents was kids when they had them. So they don't have no taught tradition. You know what I'm saying? We have taught tradition because it was different when we was kids in the 70s and 60s. The whole thing, you might have had to talk to the mom and the dad first before you actually dated. You know what I mean? But today, you don't have to do that because you had the children having children.
Sure.
They weren't able to teach their children tradition when it comes to relationships. And then you had absence. You had the absence of the father. You know what I mean? And then every mom that's a mom is not a good mom either. You know what I mean? So therefore,
Sure.
you know, you got the kids just out here by themselves, and the schools are the only things that they're learning something from, which is still bogus anyway. So they're not learning any type of value of the commitment of the man and woman being together and solidifying things and staying together. Like I said, you don't have to get married, but that long term where you the man in your household and you taking care of your family, you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, and you're being a protector, provider, as well as you're supposed to be able to, you know, be a teacher as well. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And if you have the right woman, she's going to allow you to lead because she sees the strength in you. But if you also have the right woman, she also is going to know how to give you the strength. Because I'm big on the power of suggestion. It's hard to tell a male what to do when you're a female, but if you use the power of suggestion to talk to that male, you can get him to listen to you. You can get him to hear you, versus you trying to tell a male what to do. It's an ego thing for the most part, but a man is a teacher as well, and the kids of this generation don't have that instilled in them. You know what I mean? And it has to come from their parents. Yeah, it's good that we do podcasts like this, and then you have other people doing podcasts similar to this. But if the parents aren't teaching them, then it's really hard for them to even have any kind of core values, because they're going based off of what they saw their mom and dad do or did not do. Unlike us, it was a whole different ball game. You knew when your mom tell you, you better be in front of this house. When that light come on outside, you knew you better be in front of the house. When that light come on outside, or you wasn't going back outside the next day. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just those strict type of teachings coming from the parents. When we were kids, it was different. And I'm not saying that the young generation don't have two parents in the household, but statistically, we see a lot of the young generation only have one parent in the household, which is usually the mom. You know what I mean? And then she's working her butt off to take care of her children. And of course, she may not always have that time to get off work and to really spend that time to be an educator. You know, she's coming home from work, she's cooking, she got to get the kids ready for school for the next day, and then she got to get herself together. So, I mean,
Yeah,
this is one of the things. It's hard. And I think a lot of times people you got to just want better for yourself as you get older. And hopefully as you get older, you mature enough to see where your shortcomings were, and you can do better as you get wiser. Unfortunately for some of us, you know, everybody don't mature at the same age at the same time. And they say men don't usually mature till after a certain age. I don't know about that all the time, but
starting to question that.
Yeah, you know, I don't know about all of that, but you know, all I can say is everything comes with a lesson. You know what I mean? Everything comes with a lesson.
It's definitely generational, because I know what my parents taught me, and you know, their parents taught them, my parents taught me, and I try to teach my daughter, like, you know, if she does it now, if there's someone that she's interested in or she likes, she will bring them, like, put them on the phone. This is my mom. You know, you have to talk to my mom. So I'm trying to teach her that, but unfortunately, not everybody has that same foundation and that same background of learning that you just don't. I'm not saying that serial dating without purpose, I'm not saying none of that is wrong, but the generation that we are raising now, I agree with you. I don't feel like they have those same traditional foundations going into relationships for them to know, like, you know, this is intentional. Courting is intentional. You are going into it with a purpose, whereas dating, you don't always have a purpose. You might just be dating because you like dating. Like Seven said, you might just be the person that, or like Tiffany said, you might enjoy being single and just having the company of different people. So dating, like to Khalil and everybody that you said, dating not always has a purpose, but courting has a purpose.
Yes, it does. Courting definitely has a purpose.
I will say this. I want to offer a different perspective. But for the most part, I agree with what just about all of y'all said for the most part. But just to offer a different perspective and like go back, I guess. I will say I have to give my generation, I think every generation has is ups, is downs when it comes to like this dating stuff. And so even with my generation, you know, we have a lot of ups and we have a lot of downs. Now, I do have to give us our props though, because when I think about dating and I think about courting years ago, you know, I do like that now women have, you know, time to actually truly vet men. We have more time now to truly vet men, because you have to think about it. A lot of the times our grandparents, they were in survival mode. We couldn't even get a house without y'all men, honey. A lot of these older women was using these men, if y'all really want to get to the real of it, because we couldn't get our own house. We couldn't get our own job. We couldn't even open a bank account. So we had no choice but to settle down, get married so we can have a roof over our head, food on the table, you know, have everything that we can have on our own now. We had no choice but to be in a relationship with just about anybody who wanted to be serious with us and have kids with us. Because back then there wasn't that many good men. There was men that were great providers. And I think a lot of the times men get that so messed up. One of my relationships, and I'm not going to say which one, but one of my relationships, I ended that because, yeah, he was a great provider and, you know, he handled his business, but he lacked emotional intelligence and he was not affectionate. Why would I want to be with that?
Right.
Because you're a good provider? That ain't good enough. That used to be good enough with our great-great-grandparents because we needed that. So it'd be so funny sometimes when I hear people say women nowadays just use men and do this and do that. And I just be listening like, did y'all not know y'all was getting used way more? I feel like back then, we couldn't have nothing in our name.
It was not the,
settling.
It was not this. It was never the same. Back then, it was never the same when you talk about being used. And the one thing I don't really go into is what my mom and dad was doing, or my grandparents actually really did before me. Because see, if we start thinking like that, then you really never get nowhere holding on to.
Well, we got to go back to the roots.
The root of it is if I have to be.
I wasn't done yet though. I got you though. Let me finish real quick. But now just to end there, you know, at the beginning, that's just a perspective. I'm not saying that was the only way, but that was just a perspective that I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to how women date and how men date now. Now move forward. We'll go past you guys' generations. We'll go straight to my generation. Well, no, I'm not going to skip past y'all. With y'all's generation, you know, we talk about tradition and, you know, our generation not holding the tradition when realistically y'all are closer to that generation than we are. You know, y'all are way closer. So for that to have had stick the way that a lot of people in you guys' generation speak of, you guys had to have hold that torch and made sure that foundation was restructured and rewired. You know, you can't have a stable house if the foundation isn't good and the wiring is not good either. You got to go back in every couple of years and, you know, go back in and make sure everything good, get an inspection done again and get the shit back right, you know? So we there now. So now we're at my generation, and we're at my generation where, you know, you have the internet, you have all these different components now. And I have to give my generation props because, yeah, it is a good bit of us out here that's just, you know, out here just having sex and doing dumb shit. But then if you really take a look around, I'm not even gonna just focus on the relationship aspect. We have more of my generation now that's back gardening. We have more of my generation now that's back talking about mental health, how it's supposed to be, because it wasn't a thing then. Now it's a thing now because of social media, talking about mental health now. We talking about the fact that, hey, you can't just be a good provider. You got to have some emotional intelligence, and you got to come with some stuff just like the woman. I can't be good to my man if I don't have emotional intelligence with myself and with my man in order to make sure that we have a good relationship. I can't be his backbone if I don't understand the structure and the genetic makeup of myself and of him. It don't work like that. So I have to give my generation props because, yeah, we walking back around now with afros out again, and we gardening. Like I'm gardening this summer with my dad. You know, we gardening. We're doing a lot of different things. So yeah, we have some downfalls, but you got to go back to the root sometimes and look at it. We have new roots now, and these new roots might not be good, but once again, you got to inspect the home and see if the home need renovations in order to now restructure it.
Yeah.
Y'all haven't done enough yet, though.
I like that.
Y'all impact won't be. It's too young. It's too young to give yourselves pats on the back, because y'all haven't really done enough. You haven't. With the generations before, you've been able to go back and study it. So currently, this is your generation. You don't know what y'all impact will be. And going back to our generation and the renovation, here's what people leave out with why we were so screwed up. You're looking at the crack epidemic. You're looking at the AIDS epidemic. You're looking at the development of the projects and them kicking men out the house. And like there was a lot of things that happened to our generation that we were so busy, as you said, trying to survive and trying to, they was giving 3 strikes and you out. They was hunting us. They was kicking in doors with military style. They was doing what they doing over there on CNN. They was doing that in Compton and Jersey and like all over the country in black neighborhoods. So you lost a lot of that because you lost a lot of good people that was out there on crack, that was out there on heroin. Like it's things that pills ain't nothing compared to the crack epidemic. Believe me. Like
nothing. Hey yo, bro. They don't know about that epidemic, how bad that crack epidemic was way
wicked. Y'all think pills, you think fentanyl was bad.
Fentanyl that crystal meth.
Crack took your whole life. It left you dead alive. Like it's a whole different.
You have somebody that commented scenario. It was a war zone. Someone commented it was a war zone. So so it sounds like, and maybe y'all can agree, it sounds like maybe the 70s, 80s is where the foundation broke down when it comes to relationships and marriage and courting and all that kind of stuff. That's when people were in fight mode. They were trying to protect their families. They were as in black society.
I want to hear what my man got to say.
Yeah.
Well, yo, listen. I have a saying that I use, and I'm excuses are for the weak and incompetent. And as you grow, you start to learn you.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is learn you, and not have excuses. Because I'm gonna just say this: I grew up in foster care, so I don't really believe in a whole lot of excuses. But I remember my foster mother being mad because the girls used to call the house, and I only been home from school 30 minutes, and she used to say like, "Damn, when I was growing up, we didn't chase the men; the men chased us." And I looked at her and I said, life is different.
Right, it is.
My life, I said, me being in high school is different than when you was in high school, Ma. You know what I'm saying?
Women are more independent now. Women are more independent
men now.
Making their own decisions. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. Like Seven said, women now are more bold and vocal and just, taking charge of their lives. They're not back then, our grandparents, they were nurturers and mothers and taking care of home. The women nowadays, they're about getting businesses, getting that money, building something, so forth and so on.
You can be about that. You can be about getting your business and all of that. But as a man, I don't care about your money. I don't care about your accolades. What I care about is, are you a good fit to me? Because me as the man, I'm coming into it already knowing that I got to be a protector, provider. But this is also based on whether or not I see your value. If you don't show me your value as a woman, why do I want to protect and provide you in the first place? Also, if you're coming at me foul, meaning you're not a lady yourself, how can I look to even want to court you? You know what I'm saying? So you got the women that aren't teaching their daughters to be women either. You can go out here and get your bag, but then you got all these women out here getting a bag on social media, showing their body, and then they wonder why they get disrespected by men, because you don't have respect for yourself. If you don't have respect for yourself, you can't expect the rest of society to have respect for you either. You know what I mean? So the introduction of the internet with OnlyFans and then Instagram models, the new age of prostitution is what I call it. It's definitely harder for women to get the the type of mature man that you're looking for when you got men that can get on here that do have money and they're just paying for the women to have a good time. And or you have the women, hell, you don't even have to work to get anything. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, I'm here, she's here, and this is what's going on. You have women that's not making the men work. And that's the biggest thing. I will always say the women are the one who makes the man's ego. It's the women. If the women aren't holding themselves accountable to be women, the men are going to treat you accordingly. And it shows. If you look at it every day, the men treat the women accordingly to who they are on social media. If we're meeting women on social media, being that most people don't even go out and talk to nobody no more. I haven't been to a club in a long time, but I can say this. I've been to a bar and you go to talk to a female, she looks at you like you crazy. But if you talk to her on social media, it's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk to her out in person, but on social media, yeah, they you know, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Well, times has changed, and with the times being changed, you're not gonna get the same what you're looking for out of men based on how women are currently on social media. You know, if you're showing your body all over social media, you're going to attract the man that all he wants from you is sex. That's it. He's not trying to get to know you from your mind. He wants to get to know you enough just so he can get some ass. That's it. That's as far as he want to get to know you, because you're already showing yourself all over social media.
Majority of men, that's what it is.
I just want to say real quick, I posted a comment in the comments of this live feed for a YouTube. Yeah, thank you. So and it's crazy because I watched this today. So it's a psychologist talking about the difference between how men and women relate to love and marriage. And it came to that discussion about women look for men with money, men look for women for sex. So, and it kind of breaks it down. So what you were saying with this clip that I put in the comments, I think if you guys are really interested, and I'm talking to the viewers, if you guys are really interested in this conversation, definitely check out that link and like give us some feedback and let us know what you think about it, because I think this might actually turn into another discussion at a later time. Like, it's getting deep and we're like coming up on the time frame that I know we're allowed.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
so
I think this is an awesome topic to discuss, because, and it's not so much the war against the sexes, it's us as a group discussion talking about our experiences with dating, our experiences with the other sex, our experiences of what our intentions are and what we want versus what other people want. And I think that it just a collaborative, conversation about what each other thinks is, and it all molds together. So I'm super stoked about this episode. Like, this has gone really, really good.
And I'm trying not to put my personal thoughts. I'm trying to be more open-minded to the conversation. But if I was put my personal thoughts in here, I'm just going to say this about the women. I've never had to work to obtain, once I realized that hood chicks weren't from me. After I got rid of that phase, that hood chicks are not for me, I never had to work to get sex. Never. I haven't. I've had women take me out on a first date 100 times. I had a chick take me on a first date on her birthday, and she took me out on her birthday. But different caliber men get different types of attention. I was a jock all through high school and in college. I hung out with a different type of crew of people, of men, that the women liked. So I hung out with a crew of dudes that all the girls liked in the neighborhood, or all the girls liked in college. So for me to get women, I never had to work. I really never. And then when social media came, I abused it. I'm not going to act like I'm not a saint. I've abused social media because females have been following me on my Facebook page, and I use my Facebook page to date. I don't have to do anything else. Just straight Facebook. I put the women on my page that I think look good, and then I just follow them and see how they are. They don't make me work for nothing. I haven't taken a female on a date in 14 years because they don't make me work for it. They don't. If you don't make me work for it, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not.
gonna say-
But
Wait,
there is
wait.
Can I chime in real quick before we end?
Oh,
I'll make it quick.
Okay, Seven. Yeah, let me get myself together. Go ahead, Seven.
Because these two said a lot, so I just want to chime in on it real quick before we go. So I know you said our generation is too soon for us to give ourselves a pat on the back.
yes.
I don't think it's too soon. I get why you say that to a certain degree, but I don't think it's too soon. Why? I feel like I'm a good example of why we should give ourselves a pat on the back, because I know me and I know what I offer. I'm pretty sure on this call, I done offered y'all a different perspective y'all probably never even heard before.
This
from
was not. That
somebody
was
my
not aimed
age.
towards you though.
No,
Because-
I know. I'm just using
Yeah.
myself as an example because that's all
Okay.
I got right now. But, you know, like my age, you know, I'm pretty sure I've offered you guys a good perspective. And I have that perspective because I myself have allowed myself to learn about me, learn about other people, use social media as a tool, and don't let it consume me the way that it consumed most. And I know you said it was a different, you know, it was a crack epidemic, AIDS epidemic. Hell, it's an epidemic right now. Every generation that had an epidemic. Like he said, like Khalil said, there's no excuse though, because I can be addicted to social media. You got some people that don't even know how to communicate in person, like Khalil said.
That ain't crack.
Hey, but whatever your addiction is your addiction. Social media kills some people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fentanyl might not be crack, but it still kill people. It still take lives. It still take people
does.
away from their family. So it doesn't matter what type of drug it is. Hell, sex is a drug if you have an
Absolutely.
addiction to it, you know. So it doesn't matter what it
Absolutely.
is. It's all about the mindset. So I don't like to use those things as like, you know, well, because y'all on crack. Y'all good, right? I'm just saying, y'all good.
You talking about us? Like on the panel?
Yeah,
Is that
it was
what
just
you talking about?
I was being sarcastic because it was like the crack and the AIDS epidemic.
didn't
But I'm
take
like,
it.
shit, y'all good? We here having this conversation. So you know, there was still some people that made it that could have helped the foundation. Just like with me, when my son grow up, you know, he gonna say the same thing I'm saying to y'all. He gonna say about us, and he gonna be like, what happened? And it all comes back to leadership. There's different levels of leadership. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, what Khalil was saying with social media, when he was saying if there's a woman on social media that's dressed a certain way, or he don't have to work too hard for women, well, it all comes down to leadership. Because as a man and as a woman, for me, I'm a choreographer. Sometimes I be on fucking Instagram. I might have on a bodysuit. My ass might be out. Now, my man, he's a great man. So he never came at me. Men don't disrespect me. I'm gonna just put it like that. They don't slide in my inbox on some disrespectful shit. They don't do none of that because I think it's all about energy. And when you understand energy is just certain things you're just not gonna do with certain people. Now, old me probably would have got disrespected because my energy was different. But my energy now, people know how to talk to me. They know how to approach me based off my energy, whether I'm showing something or not. Now, if a man chooses to do that, that's because of him and his core beliefs and his core values. So I think there's different levels of leadership. If you're a leader, if I got somebody around me and I see the energy that they're doing what they're doing in, and we close enough, I'm going to speak on it. There might be men that come at me that I'm not going to be involved with because of the simple fact, why would I do that? If I want you to be better, why would I invest in that? Why would I take advantage of that? So I think it comes back to people's core beliefs and values. We can do better, but if people don't hold other people accountable and do those things, then it's going to be a constant thing, especially if you play into it as well.
Yeah.
Who's y'all leaders?
Huh?
Who's y'all leaders?
So let me break down what I meant by that.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
So,
I know what you meant.
I'm
I know
saying
what you
there's
meant.
different.
I know what
answering
you
your
mean,
question.
right? You're talking about individual, but I'm saying for your generation,
Who is y'all's leaders?
who is your leader?
Who are our leaders? We have
Yes.
19 Keys. Have you ever heard of him?
Who?
19 Keys. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, but tell everybody else who it is.
So 19 Keys, he have a podcast show called High Level Conversations. He is, I would say, one of our leaders as well. We have 19 Keys. We have Aristotle Investments. We have so many different people. But what
They
I was
teaching you about
speaking
money?
on- huh?
What do they teach you?
Everything that we're talking about plus more, plus how we're talking about social media, how natural intelligence plus artificial intelligence can equal enhanced intelligence. So using these things that we deal with nowadays as a tool than an excuse. They teach us how the family structure should be. What we're talking about now, they teach that. So you should go look him up. His name is 19 Keys. You'll learn a lot from him. But what I was speaking on when I was saying leadership, everybody can be a leader, but there's levels. You get what I'm saying?
You know.
So everybody has a part to play, but if you're not willing to play your part, then hey, shit gonna get lost in the sauce and things gonna get messed up if people don't hold the structure.
Yeah. I think that everybody can agree that when it comes to dating, I think we all understand that what dating is. I think we also understand that courting is intentional and it has a specific plan, has a specific purpose. But it sounds like we also agree that there was a point in history, generational, where courting was no longer the way to do things. You know, women became more powerful. They're working outside the home. They're taking care of themselves. Women are getting married later now. Women back in, 70s, 60s, 50s were getting married in their early 20s. Women now are getting married in their 30s and their 40s because they have so much they're doing. They're building their careers and their businesses and,
That's a great thing. Listen, that's a great thing, though. That's a great thing that
this generation.
That's a great thing that women are waiting to get married because, as I said before, you got to have a few failed relationships so you can find yourself. You got to find yourself so you know who your person is. And a lot of people don't find themselves. They just out here willy-nilly. And we got to date before we court anyway. Because I can't say I want to court you before I date you. Because I need to know you. I need to learn you. I you know what I mean? From that point is where I want to court you. And what they always say, a man usually knows if he wants to marry a woman within 15 months. That means...
No sooner.
I've never heard.
Or sooner.
It really depends on how in tune you are with yourself, to know how you want to move.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, people are marrying later, and people are becoming successful later because they are not. That's the power of social media. There's a delayed learning process. You got grown folks trying to learn dance moves from their kids, and trying to learn how to invest.
I know I do.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on in society these days through my kids.
Crazy. About to break your leg trying to do this TikTok joint.
Right. Yeah.
You ain't that flexible. But my point is, like, a lot of times it take us, like, I kind of agree with my man with you have to make mistakes. But I also think that, you should be able to learn from other people's mistakes. Like I learned from watching other cats move and what other people do, and I'm like, nah, don't want to go that way.
Right?
Trafficking, nah, I ain't taking that pill or whatever it is. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke because I saw I saw the impact of alcoholism in my family. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go through that and die from alcohol to learn that was a bad move. But at the same time,
just like we knew to stay off the crack because we already saw what crack did to everybody else.
Yeah.
I get it. You know what I mean?
Good conversation. Good conversation. I agree with you, Tiffany. I feel like there's going to be a part 2 to this. I really do, because one thing that I think we all agree is, about the fact that we see that there's a generational thing going on here with this question. Clearly, there's a generational thing.
And it's beautiful.
It is. Marriages, relationships have evolved, and not saying that they evolved into anything negative. Because I feel that our generation is very strong-minded. They're very powerful. They're very passionate. They are making their own money, building their own businesses. They're very in tune with themselves. This generation now, that's going. They're very strong-minded and wanting to just, take over the world. And you've got people younger and younger these days that are becoming millionaires and becoming business owners. So this generation is really doing a lot of great stuff. And dating has, to me, when I was started dating again, it was just like this is different. It is. Social media has taken over dating. It's taken over relationships. You're meeting people on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You're not meeting people in the traditional sense anymore. You're not meeting people in the church. You're not meeting people through your parents.
Tiffany, you're not going to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we mean we can't meet him at the club no more because don't nobody. Well, I don't club, but at the club they're not even talking. So I mean, or you can meet him at Walmart, at the grocery store. You know what I mean? At the gym. You know, I'm gonna say because I like to work out, so that's a prime place to meet women is at the gym. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to meet you a fit woman, go to the gym. She fit, go get her. You know what I mean? If you want to meet you a fit, gentlemen, listen to me. If you want you a fit woman, go to the gym. You will find you one. You will find you a fit woman.
Be intentional. If you want a fit woman, meet her at the gym.
Go to the gym. You want a fit woman, go to the gym. You want the women that don't have a BBL, you want that natural woman, go to the gym, bro. You will find you one. I'm in the gym. Like, yo, this is where I'm finding my women, in the gym, because I'm going to the gym.
Khalil,
I'm saying.
Get back. I have not forgotten about them 14 dates that you've been on that you didn't have to. You've been asked out on 14 dates and didn't have to pay for nothing. So, or you were the initiator. We're gonna have to get back to that because that's gonna be a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother episode.
Yes, that's a whole other episode. So women that are taking over the dating, like, you know, I'm asking a man out. I'm interested in him. I'm asking out. I'm gonna take him out. And that's generation. This new generation is very independent. Women are very independent now, which I love. But I always tell women, you can be independent, you can have your own, but it's nothing like having a good man. It's not nothing like the leadership and the headship of a good man. And it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be powerful, but let a man be a man. But that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation. Let a man be a man. You can be powerful. You can have your own thing. Let a man be a man.
The other thing I would say is, me personally, as a man, I love an independent woman versus a dependent woman. And here's my logic. When you have a dependent woman, and let's just say you a man and you only making $120,000 a year, and I'm even hiking that number up because we know the average person is only making about $45,000 to $50,000 a year, right? But let's say you get you a man that's making about $120, but he's single. But now he takes on this woman who's dependent on him. Hey, yo, bro, you got to pick you up a couple extra hours now because you have a woman now that's dependent on you. Versus if you meet a woman that's independent and she got her own, bro, I don't have to work 3 more extra hours per week because I know she can hold her own. And I've already got my own already. I don't have to work an extra 2 more hours a day to make sure I have enough to take care of my lady when I know she's independent and got her own. You know what I mean?
Now,
see,
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that.
Go ahead, let's go. I'm ready.
I was making good money. I was making good money, and I was single, and everybody around me was making good money. When I say around me, other businesses that was around me was making good money.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was every one of them had wives, and their wives was working with them, and I was single, and it made me a target because I had women that would come and work for me because they was trying to just be close with me to try to rock with me, and that whole different thing that was coming with a single black man being successful. Mm-hmm. So I started to be like, yo, I don't want to be single. Like I want that same structure. I wanted a woman. Didn't matter what she was making. I wasn't worried about that. What I was worried about was that balance that I didn't have. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like at some point, that balance becomes more valuable than the financial gain. So I understand what young lady was saying about what the women bring in the independence, but I don't care if you're an independent, successful black man or independent, successful black woman. You're going to need that balance because you're going to need that level of protection. You're going to need that guidance that's there. When you in a room full of sharks, you're going to need them eyes to watch behind your back. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody out here shucking and jiving and playing games. But when you're talking about real life, like it's a different energy. And that's why I move how I move. Like it's not about the game, man. being single and out there on the scene, being outside ain't don't mean nothing when you trying to build something and you talking. And my mind started to shift to legacy. So when you start to shift your mind to legacy, then it changes altogether. You ain't bump online and offline interaction if it ain't about building, that structure and that foundation for these babies up and coming.
But at the end of the day, it's all gonna boil down to that person, what they looking for in life. You know what I mean? We can talk about building legacy, we can talk about that, but hell, I had a girl turn me down and tell me, nah, I ain't messing with you because I didn't fit whatever it was for her. You know what I mean? I'm talking relationship stuff. I'm talking the right game. Like I'm talking long term.
That was a problem.
Marriage.
You were talking game.
Hey, that was the problem right there. You were talking
marriage. I'm saying I'm talking marriage. And she was like, you know what, Khalil? That's not where my life is right now. And we talking about, this is an older woman. Yeah. I'm talking marriage. She's talking about, that's not where my life is right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So once again, all I'm saying is it just depends on individual and the energy. Everybody's not looking to get married. And she was older than me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't say, you know what I mean? It's not just the men.
Like Miss Lady said, it got to make sense.
Yeah,
it has to make sense for each individual life. If it's for you, it's for you. Rock out. But she's at that point where she done did all that, so she's just trying to get her hot girl some more. She's just trying to live the good old days.
You're right, because she was divorced. So
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something that my mother told me, and it shocked me. She's recently widowed, right? And we was having a conversation on the phone, no lie. And she said, you know what I would do if I had it all to do over again? I said, what? I'm thinking she about to hit me with some wisdom. You know what she told me? Have more sex.
Okay, mama. Yes, mama. Yes, girl. I like mama.
have more sex. I said, you are my mom. I get it. But nah, that ain't the move for you. Ride this one out.
Go, mama. Go, mama.
Sit this out.
Well, thank y'all for coming on tonight to talk about courting and dating. I think we all agree that it is definitely in generational, but then it's also in foundation too. If you were brought up in an era, or you were brought up in a home that valued marriage and talked about marriage and the importance of marriage and the importance of courting and getting to know someone so that you can build legacies together, so that you can build a future together, then that's the children that you're going to produce. And just like Seth said, if I'm not teaching my daughter those values, and someone else's parents are not teaching them those values and the importance of getting to know someone before you marry them, so that you can have that longevity and make those legacies, then you're going to have the next generation of people who aren't going to see marriage the same way. And somewhere it did break down. I don't know if it was in the 70s. I don't know if it was in the 80s. I want to say maybe 60s, 70s. But it does go back to foundation. It goes back to your environment. It goes back to what you learned. And it might even be coming from your parents themselves and what you grew up in. You grew up in a house with a mother and dad. Your values are going to be different when it comes to dating. If you grow up in a home and you only had single parents, you're going to grow up with those values of a strong woman that doesn't necessarily need a man, and so forth and so on. You might have those values based on your foundation. So when it comes to dating and courting, is there a difference? Yeah, it definitely is a difference. But it boils down to, how do you feel? How do I feel with Jay? Or am I looking for marriage? Are you looking for marriage? And having that conversation and deciding if the two of us are going to be compatible and are we going to take this road together, or if we're not. Courting versus dating, there is a difference. I'm going to say there's a difference. What about you, J-Lock? Do you agree or disagree? Is there a difference between dating and courting?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Seven? Do you feel that there's a difference? You're on mute, baby.
I think they can be one and the same. I think the only difference is the word. I think that's it.
Okay. What about you, Tiffany? Do you feel that there is a difference?
No, I feel like it's like a blurred line thing. Like I said earlier, I think I'm agreeing with 7. Like it's basically the same thing. It's just the intentions behind it.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Kalia? Courting versus dating, or is there a difference?
The big difference, especially if we're going based off of the definition. If you looked up both of those words, they both have 2 different definitions. One is dating just to get to know someone, and courting is that long term. So definition wise, yes, there is definitely a big difference definition wise. When you look it up, whatever dictionary or whatever, if you look it up and Google it right now, they're 2 different definitions. So they're not one and the same. So yes, they are definitely different.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So thank you for everybody that was commenting. We had some really good comments. We try to include them as much as possible. But I think everybody agrees, courting and dating, you have to have that communication. There are some blurred lines, especially now with the generational and the foundations of today's society, especially with social media. So courting versus dating, is there a difference? I kind of feel like that question's still out there. So we're going to revisit this later and talk more about courting versus dating, because I really think that, having these conversations with different generations like we did today is really important when it comes to talking about relationships. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We are at our moment. So real quickly, tell everybody how they can find you. J-Lock.
I am J-Lock on TikTok, Instagram, and my music is on all streaming platforms, so definitely check that out.
Thank you so much. Seven, tell everybody how they can find you.
I am Sev the Fairy on Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media, Sev the Fairy.
Got it. Khalil, tell everybody where they can find you.
On TikTok, you can find me, Khalil Ali 360. Facebook, Khalil Ahsan Ali. That's how you can find me.
Nice. And I just want to point out Miss Cindy McBroom. She might be giving us what we need right here. She says, I believe courting is with the intention of a serious relationship. Dating is the beginning stage. That makes a lot of sense.
That's the definition. She looked it up. That's the definition on Google.
Yep. So thank you.
That's the definition on Google. She looked it up. Because I already had looked it up. I had it sitting right here on my other phone.
Tiffany, courting versus dating. I think we're going to be talking about this subject again. Tell everybody how to find you.
They can find me on Instagram at sweet_T_with_Tiffany. Facebook is Tiffany Knowlton with the KNOWLTON as the last name. And TikTok is, I forgot, but if you follow me on the other stuff, you'll see it.
Okay. Make sure that y'all check
mine tonight.
Cindy in the comments said she didn't have to look it up. She's been married twice.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. She said, "This is from experience, baby. This is from experience."
Yo, that's all my people.
Hi, Cindy. All right, so make sure that y'all check in at lunchtime this Wednesday. For Tiffany and I for 2 Shots of Tea. We're going to be talking about the latest gossip and the latest hot topics. So please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. 2 Shots of Tea. Just spell it all out. TWO Shots of Tea. Make sure that you go and follow us, and we will see y'all next Monday. Thank you, and have a great day.
Peace and love.
Good night.
Peace.